I call the November 4th meeting of the Board of Zoning Adjustments to order. And we would have the roll call, please.
All right. Ms. Smith.
Here.
Ms. LaBeouf.
Here.
Mr. Clrcle.
Here.
Ms. Hand.
Here.
Mr. Foley.
Here.
Mr. Roberts. And Mr. Gear. Okay. Present.
Did everyone have a chance to go over the minutes of our last meeting, the October meeting? Anybody have any changes? Or Megan? Well, then I'll entertain a motion to approve them as submitted. And second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. All right. Next are communications and reports from the chair and vice chair. First of all, I'd like to introduce our new member of the board tonight. Mike, is it Mike or Michael? Michael Clrcle from Ward 3. If you'd just introduce yourself, tell us a little about you.
I'm a resident on Ogilvie Avenue. I've been here for 13 years. I have a beautiful wife and young boy in Edgewood, and I currently work for a company out of Bessemer. We perform natural gas pipelines across the southeast, and really excited to be here, excited to be a part of this board and help serve and do my part.
Thank you. The next thing I want to say is thank you so much to staff for putting up with us as we went through the bylaws and rules of procedure this year. It was quite an undertaking, and for going through and making all the changes and edits that we did, including changing chairman to chairperson, and he and she and they and them and all of that stuff in the final analysis. So thank y'all so much for that. Hopefully that will be good to go for several years hence. Thank you. Also would like to state that I'm going to appoint a nominating committee tonight and have them report back to us next month for the chair and vice chair for next year, for 2022. We'll vote on them next time, and they will take office starting in January. So I have asked Ms. Smith and Ms. Hand to join me on that, and they've both graciously agreed, and so we will get together and have a report for the board in December. December. And is there anything from the vice chair?
There is not.
Thank you. All right. There is no old business, and under new business, case number 1 has been withdrawn at the request of the applicant, as has case number 2. So we will go to case number 3, SV 21-11-03, 130 Stratford Circle. If the people for the application would come forward to the podium, tell us your plans and the nature of your hardship under the law, and also give your name and address and sign the list there.
All right, thank you. Randall Minor. I'm a real estate attorney at Maynard, Cooper & Gale, located 1901 6th Avenue North. I'm here today on behalf of the ownership partnership and my very good client, who happens to be my wife. My wife and I bought this property almost 2 years ago and are now looking to build our family home here in Homewood. The agenda tonight aptly points out that we're looking to build a new residence that maintains the existing 21-foot 2-inch setback from Stratford Circle by strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance and the NPD regulations. We need a setback variance in order to reconstruct at that same setback level. Stratford Circle, if you haven't been, is a hybrid roundabout and cul-de-sac that separates Devon Drive from Stratford Road. On the north side of the cul-de-sac, if you will, there are 5 houses, 2 of which are corner lots. We're here today about 130 Stratford, which is the largest of the 3 9-corner lots. There is a tax map that was included in your packet that really overstates the size of the lot. So I want to just hand out the survey, the resurvey, the plat map for this property so you can kind of see, because it's relevant to our variance application. Thank you. So the plat map, you know, you can kind of see clearly on the plat map, there were multiple lots, and then there's been resurveyed. And so it appears, if you look at the tax map, that there's like a rectangular lot that we're talking about, but it's actually more pie-shaped. So the reasons for the hardship, to play off of what the chair asked me to do, is in our view that justified the grant of the setback variance here are multifold. One, we have significant topographical challenges. I included a topographical survey. In the northeast portion of the site, there's a 2-to-1 slope. You know, that's creates difficulties when you're siting a house at that level. It also, as I mentioned, you know, and you can see on the survey, the plat map, we've got an irregularly shaped lot, so it kind of is narrow up front, then it widens out in the back. So, you know, the options for doing the house, especially given the topo when you start pushing it back, are limited, and especially given that we've got to maintain a 10-foot setback on both sides of the house. We're also in a cul-de-sac, and one of the things about the cul-de-sac, you know, I've already referenced that, is that if you look at the lot to the right of us, 132 Stratford, they've got a driveway that is really on the western portion of their property. So we've got to put a driveway on our house. Obviously, the way the driveway sits currently, it's on the western portion of our property. In theory, I could put a driveway on the right, you know, if you're looking at the house on the right side of the property, but then that would create, you know, potential for conflict for entering in, you know, both properties. So that's another factor that we have. And then the final thing, just as how I've been looking at this is, you know, I know some people have taken existing structures and just kind of built, you know, using that same foundation, quote unquote. We can't do that here because the house is built in a crawl space with the topo issues, with all of the rain that we've gotten recently. I mean, there's been some more settlement in the house. It's just not safe to do that. And so frankly, I don't think we want our house to be as wide as it is currently. So, you know, we're applying for the variance to do that. I tried to avoid applying for a variance, honestly, but just when I was looking at different options for how we build a house here and knowing this is going to be our family house, you know, I wanted to make sure we had as much flexibility as possible. I included a illustrative kind of ground floor plan for that house just so you can kind of see, you know, how it's set back, you know, except for this front setback, we're building it within the zoning parameters. And then also included an illustrative elevation that shows that the driveway condition that I talked about and why we want to put the driveway on that side. That's all I have. My wife couldn't be here today. She's doing, you know, I think it's basketball practice with our oldest. But if she were here, she would have a lot of positive things to say about, you know, this plan, because it's really it's her plan. So I'm here trying to present her plan, and hopefully you guys will approve it. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have. We live right down the street currently, so I know the neighborhood very well.
Thank you. We'll now open the public portion of the meeting. If there's anyone here who would like to speak to this, they can come forward now. Seeing none, we will close the public portion of the meeting and open it up to questions from the board.
I'm just curious, is this a single-story residence or it's two-story?
It's two-story. Well, it's two in a daylight basement. And so I just included that ground floor plan just so you guys could see from a height and setback standpoint,
Yeah.
you know, what it's going to look like. But it's
Perfect.
this isn't necessarily relevant, but I'm curious, what is on this little sliver of a lot here beside you?
It's, so the topo, I don't think you can see as much on the topo survey, but it basically, there's a retaining wall, and I call it, I should use air quotes, it's really just a brick wall that somebody built at some point. And the hill slopes up, so it's really just trees.
Do you own that, or do your neighbors own that?
One of my neighbors owns that, she's here today. So in that, that tax map, really, if you kind of look at the plat map and the tax map together, if you just put that lot 13, I think it is, and then put that on the lot 14, which is at the corner, that is the corner lot.
I see. So what we have is incorrect, right?
Yeah, there's something that the county, this resurvey was done in the 50s, so I don't know why the tax map was never updated, but obviously when we're going through this process, I want to make sure that gets fixed, because I don't want to get assessed for land that I don't own.
Yeah, that's an awfully tight curve there, so you're real scrunched in at the front and got a lot of land in the back. But
It is very tight, and I'm talking with the neighbor to the right just about how we can, fix the driveway situation there so we can make it a little bit wider.
Is he on your property at this?
It is not. The right-of-way for Stratford Circle gets about 5 feet into the grass, So I think maybe the curb, if you looked at it, you would think it's in, my property, but I think it's in the right-of-way.
Yeah, I had to stand there a minute to get oriented, because it was kind of odd. I wanted to make sure I didn't give you short shrift for what I was looking at.
Are the homes, like your neighbors' homes, similarly setback currently?
So it kind of goes to what we were just talking about there. If you look at it from your eye, they look to be the same setback from the street, but if you actually map it out, and I had the surveyor shoot the distances there, and I just don't have them memorized, but they're, I think it's 31 feet we would need to be set back. So technically it's like a 25-foot setback is what's required in NPD.
Yeah.
And then you've got to look at your adjacent properties to do that. And so I think the calculation was 31 feet. So we're 6 feet, give or take, or more than that, 10 feet off of where we should be. But that's kind of how the house is currently.
Yeah.
And it looks like, based on the new site plan, you're holding the line.
Exactly.
The existing front elevation. So you're not making the situation or the front setback any worse.
That's exactly right. And the house actually, when we finalize things, hopefully we get an approval here today, I'll be able to finalize things. That's really our actual house is going to be set back from that. It's really just part of the porch that's encroaching. And so I just want to make sure that, we get all of it. I just don't want to have any problems when we go to try to build this, that it's very clear that we've got the right to just put the footing, right there in the right spot.
Most people don't want to come back to see us a second.
That's my plan, if I can avoid it.
I'll move that we approve BZA case SV 21-1103.
I second that.
All right. Ms. Hand,
Yes.
Mr. Foley,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Perkle,
Yes.
and Ms. LaBeouf.
Yes. Thank
Thank
You
you.
have 180 days to pull your permit.
Okay, great, thank you.
Well,
300.
360 days, or did we say it
Awesome.
was 65?
Even better.
Whatever.
Use all
Thank
that
you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank
Good to see you.
And next case, want to call SV 21-11-04, 306 English Circle. You'll state your name and address and the nature of your hardship and sign in on the,
Okay. Thank you all for listening to our case here tonight. We really appreciate it. We have 306 English Circle applying for a variance on the side setback. This is my wife Hannah. I'm David Morris. We currently live on Grand Avenue, which is just about 3 blocks away. Our kids attend Homewood schools. We have a daughter in middle school and a son in Shades Cahaba, and one coming up in 2 years. So we're excited about that, getting all the kids out of daycare. But anyway, so we have purchased 306 English Circle. We intend to make that our life family home. And currently it is a 3-bedroom home with 2.5 baths. And it's kind of a really wonky setup downstairs in the living area. It's just not very well utilized. And the home as it sits just really isn't big enough for our family of 5. We also have 2 dogs. And so the intent of the addition that we're requesting variance for is really to add space. We're gonna add a master bedroom on the main. We're repositioning and enlarging the kitchen and adding a den to the back of the house. The way the house was originally set on English Circle, the side setbacks were 5 feet at the time. And so the house on the front left corner, if you're facing from the road, currently sits, I think it's inside 6 feet. So it's not right on the line, but it's close to the 5-foot original setback line. And I believe the setbacks changed, not sure when that happened, but if I remember it correctly, if the house sits more than 55 feet from the road, then the side setbacks are now 10 feet. And so the reason for a request for variance on the hardship would be that we would be unable to extend the back of the house in any kind of normal fashion that would be functional. The room that we're extending that would be encroaching would be like it'd go from almost a 20-foot wide room to almost an 18-foot wide room to about a 13 or 10-foot wide room, which is just not big enough for a functional family room. And so we're really just requesting that we can maintain that original setback. I believe the corner is right at 5 feet. And just add additional room to the back of the house, maintain the integrity of the historics of English Circle. It's a beautiful home. All the houses surrounding us have all been added on to the rear, have been updated, and we're simply just trying to bring this house up to the standard of the entire street.
if there's anyone here who would like to speak to this, we'll open the public portion now, and you may come forward and do so. Mr. Eccles? And be sure to sign in on the list there. Thank you.
My name is Bob Eccles, and I live at 308 English Circle, next door. My wife and I have lived there for 32 years, and we've added on to our house in the last 3 or 4 years, pretty far back in the lot. And the house on the other side of them, 304, has also within the last 7 or 8 years made a major addition to the back. All 3 of the houses behind them on the next street have two of them are torn completely down and huge houses built, filling up those lots. And the other one, just about 3 years ago, built back in the lot. So we very much favor the addition that the Morrises are trying to do. That house was run down at one point pretty bad, and somebody bought it and did a minor redo and flipped it. And then after a few years, the Morrises bought it. It really needs we're real excited for somebody that has a wherewithal to really make it nice and wants to redo it, to live in it, is willing to do that. And we think it'd be good for the whole neighborhood and be consistent with all the houses that are already have been redone. Almost all, if I started their house and counted around about circle, about 10 houses, about 9 of those have major additions into the back. So the variance they're asking for on is on my side of the property, so we'd be the most affected by this of anyone. And we heartily endorse it and hope that you would approve their variance. Thank you.
Thank you. We will close the public portion now, seeing no one else here.
Nobody's here.
And open it up for questions from the board.
So you're just holding it, the existing line of the house and extending it back?
It's just going straight back.
We just show the computation for the total lot coverage. Did we have a separate one for the rear? Anyone? Ms. Williams? No?
Is the survey not in that package?
I'm talking about the staff's computations for the lot coverage.
Oh, okay.
It's 50% total lot, but 30% for the backyard. So my question, that leads to my question about the limestone
The
patio in the back and the garage. Are you going to keep the garage? And
We're going to keep the garage, but we're going to remove a majority of the driveway. So right behind the front steps, I don't know how far we're going to go, but less than 10 feet past the side entry to the front door, we're going to stop the driveway right there and make the rest of it turf behind there.
And we are working with our neighbors on the other side with the like end of the driveway.
They're doing some landscaping as well.
So we're trying to work together so
coordinate.
that it looks like it works together.
Mm-hmm.
But the only variance required or requested is the 5-foot setback?
That's the only question,
Okay.
yeah. So then, are you saying that this is not an accurate depiction of what you plan to do?
The driveway change is not in those drawings, no. That's all, the landscaper's going to do all that.
And it won't change the house shape or anything affecting
It's just the driveway.
house?
That's kind of important because of the amount of lot coverage that you're showing.
Okay.
And we can keep the driveway. We
No,
can
I
just
think
leave-
she's trying to make sure we can have enough of the back of the house unexposed.
with the addition of the
drainage.
limestone patio,
Mhm.
you're covering,
Right.
but you're uncovering.
Right.
So do they,
I would
does that
say-
computation work out with the
Yeah.
total?
I would say it's going to.
I would say we're uncovering more than we're covering back there. But I didn't know that we needed to provide
That's
that.
something that we will look at very closely. This was done when we looked at it, when staff reviewed it, and also when the city's arborist did a site
Mhm.
visit.
I was gonna say something about that too, about the
Visual
arborist.
is attached.
Mhm.
So that's just something that we will look at closely when a building permit is submitted.
Okay, that's fine. And we'll make sure to have drawings of that so that
Okay.
you can see very clearly where the driveway will stop.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I would work with my architect and landscape people to.
For sure.
Make sure you stay within that, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I will.
They'll know
Yeah.
how to go about that. You
Sure.
might be able to use some different materials than what you were planning to use that would be more
Oh, okay.
permeable.
Got it, got
And
it.
we're
Not
totally willing to like work whatever.
And we're also gonna do a lot for drainage because that lot slopes towards the house to the right. And all the water goes from the Eccles house down across our backyard into their backyard. And so we're gonna do a lot of work to divert drainage, create like a gutter almost, so that all that water can run in and back to the back drain pipe back there. And then also, we're gonna take all of the gutters from the roof of the house and pipe them out to the back as well.
Okay. Yeah. When I went to look at this, I swore we gave a variance on this
There's a
several
drainage
years
ditch
back.
behind the house.
2014, I think, was the last time maybe they did construction. Like,
Maybe
right?
that was it.
Ish, 2014?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It may have been, because I'm thinking it was a long time
Logan's.
ago, but not that long.
Yeah.
Not the last couple of years, that was prior to that, some small variance, I couldn't remember, it just looks familiar.
Really?
Standing there going, I've seen this house before.
I don't think they.
And I don't know why.
Changed the structure.
You know, so, yeah, I don't think it was much, but I just
Yeah.
had this
Yeah.
vision that we had done that, okay.
I move to approve SV 21-11-04.
I'll second.
All right. Ms. Hand,
Yes.
Mr. Foley,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Perkle, and Ms. LeBeau.
Yes, you have 360 days to pull your permit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I was remiss in my remark, oh, you can go on.
Okay, thank you.
Remiss in my remarks earlier. I want to thank Ty Cole for his years of service on the BZA. He just did 2 terms for the board he's in now, and he had previously done 2 terms for the board he used to live in. So he's been with us off and on for a while, and I'd like to thank him.
And the
for
city
his-
council intends to recognize him on Monday night.
Great, that's great, because he deserves it, you know. He put in 12 years, probably plus a few months, so it's a great, great benefit to us. Is there any other business to come before the board? We are adjourned. Thank you.